Alrighty, we're underway. G'day guys and welcome to episode 006 of the Bradley J. Driver Experience. I'm your host Bradley Driver. By now, hope you know to call me Brad. Today I'm here with a guy, he's a Muay Thai champ. You'd see the belts on the front of the table there. We've got WBC, Aussie champ, state champ. Just a very good guy as well. Dave, how are you, man?
Yeah, good, man. Cheers for that. I just want to say again, man, thanks for giving us the opportunity to come on
No problem, brother.
have a chat. Yeah, like I've been saying to a bunch of people lately, Muay Thai, it's a growing sport, we're still building, but we're definitely on our way. So to get an opportunity to come on a platform like this,
100%.
definitely appreciate it. And man.
I appreciate you being here, man.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's interesting for me. I'd seen, probably being in the Muay Thai space and doing just training for a little bit of fun myself in the last 6 months. I see photos pop up, I search a little bit more, and I seen your face around a lot.
Yeah.
And it was interesting when we started filming this podcast and there was an opportunity to get you on. I jumped at it straight away because I knew you'd be great to have on.
Yeah.
You've got a very good story. You're still very young to be holding this many belts. You're 23?
23, yeah, just turned 23 last October. So
yeah, nice. Same age as me.
Yeah. So like, I still feel like, I'm still very young in the sport. I've been doing Muay Thai now for about 7 years, fighting for about 6. So it is it's a few years, but I still feel like I'm still growing. I've still got so much more to give and learn. And in the sport, man, you're always growing, you're always learning.
Always growing.
So I still feel like I got a heaps long way to go. So man, I'm excited for the future. Yeah,
that's awesome to hear. And so tell me, I think for most people, and I could be wrong here, most people I speak to in the Muay Thai space didn't always begin in Muay Thai.
Yeah.
Tell me about your story. When did you first put a set of gloves on? And
Yeah. So I actually originally started downtown gym here in Wollongong Reflex Centre. So that was more like more kickboxing, martial arts. They did BJJ, stick fighting. They did a whole bunch of things. And I think I started that when I was about 10, 11 years old.
Yeah.
And I did that for about 5 years. And yeah, at the time, I was absolutely loving it, just
nice.
being in the gym like, every other day, just being around all the guys and a lot of older people as well. So I had a lot of good role models coming up early on. And at the time I was loving it, I had goals of becoming a black belt and just loved being in the gym. It was something different as well because I grew up playing soccer. I played soccer for about maybe 6-7 years or so. So it was just completely different, going from a team sport to like all of a sudden you're sort of, I wasn't fighting at the time, but it's more, you're by yourself, you're in the gym, you got to push yourself. You got your trainers, but it's sort of up to you to push yourself along. And early on that was it was a good start for me looking back now. It wasn't really fight training or anything like that, but it sort of gave me that good base and that foundation looking back. So I did that for about 5 or so years. But it wasn't until I moved to South Australia. My dad was working over there at the time, so we all just decided as a family to pack up and move over there to all be together. And just happened to find a Muay Thai gym by chance, and I said, I'll give it a go. And first session, just absolutely loved it. Just the difference, the power and the speed and the physicality of the sport was something I've never experienced down here at Reflex Centre, and it just took me back and sort of blew me away right from the start. And after the first session, I was like, wow, this is what I want to do. Yeah.
Muay Thai is one of those sports, I think, because there's so much to it, like eight limbs, as they say. There's such a complexity to being a good Muay Thai fighter that I think the skill set and the actual journey of acquiring the skill set is what makes it so interesting.
Yeah. Like it is like a specialist combat sports. MMA, you got boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, jiu-jitsu, all those things. Whereas Muay Thai, it's just stand up, but you do have the clinch game as well. So from your punching and your kicking, your elbows, and then you have the clinch game as well, which is like a whole different ball game again. Yeah. So there is so much to learn as well, but it is a specialist combat sport. And then just the physicality and the fitness was something I've never experienced before when I was training down here. So I just remember being really taken back, and I was like, wow, that's
awesome.
Yeah, this is crazy. So ever from that first session, I was just completely hooked and gave me a new sort of insight into, you know, something I've never seen before, you know. So it was like,
Yeah, exactly.
wow, I've sort of missed out on this, and yeah, just sort of took off from there. Yeah.
And when was your first fight?
I was training for about. So I trained for about maybe 8 months down there, and then my trainer approached me and said, "Oh, do you want to fight?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, you know, we'll give it a go." So I was getting ready for my first fight, and I actually broke my arm sparring, getting ready for my first fight. So that sort of pushed things back, you know, 6 months or so.
Yeah.
But I ended up having my first fight March 2013. It would have been. And that was actually on my trainer's Justin. His name was Justin Fennell. He ran a show in the town, small town that we lived in, called Shins of Steel. So that was cool to have my first fight, you know, on my trainer's show, have all your schoolmates there. And,
yeah, exactly.
It was really cool because it was only this really small town. Like Walla's only like, I think it's like 25,000 people. So it's real small town, about 4 hours from Adelaide. So
Okay.
yeah, real close knit, and to have like all your schoolmates there, and everyone sort of knows each other, so to sort of get that support.
Did you know your opponent?
I did. He was from Adelaide, so
Okay.
I didn't know him at the time, but yeah, I just remember being really excited just to get in there, you know, put on a show for your mates, and like you're young, you want to sort of like even like show off to a sort of degree, you know, like you're young, you want to like put on a show for everyone, and yeah, I remember being really excited and just pumped to get in there, yeah, for my first fight. Yeah.
What's it feel like for you personally, stepping in there on that first fight, and you check that first kick or
like
that first punch?
I remember being so excited. I was so hungry to get in there. And the fight was so quick. Like your first, because you don't know what you're sort of in for.
Yeah.
You don't know what to expect. You have sort of an idea because I've watched fights before, but until you're in there, it's like. You don't know what to expect. So I just remember the fight. Obviously, it was a few years ago now, but I just remember the fight being really, really quick. It just flew by, and I remember being so tired. You know, because it's like you can be as fit as you want, training and like before the fight, but once you get in there, you have, you know, the adrenaline, the nerves, anxiety, all those things built into one.
Even your breathing patterns would change.
It's a lot to deal with, especially when you don't know, sort of, you've never done it before.
Yeah.
So and that just comes with experience as well. Each fight you get better at dealing with it, and it's all learning, man. Yeah, each fight you deal with it a lot better.
And how many fights have you had?
I've had 40 fights now.
40 fights.
Yeah.
30 wins.
I've had 30 wins, 2 draws, 8 losses, with 10 KOs. Yeah.
When did your first loss come?
It was my 4th fight, was my first loss. So that was on a show. So my first fight was in Whyalla, and then the 3 fights after that were on the same show.
Okay.
So I sort of had a little bit, and that was in Adelaide. So I sort of had a bit of a following in Adelaide after those 2 fights in a row. And the 3rd fight, just ran into a lot more experienced boy. He was a lot taller. He was a man. At that stage, I was still 16, so I was a kid fighting men pretty much. Still developing, and this guy had a few more fights. Had that bit of man strength when, you know, I was still a bit of a kid. But again, you know, it's sort of fighting those older, stronger guys. It sort of helped me build that character and that toughness.
100%.
And, you know, looking back now, it's sort of, I'm real thankful for those early days, you know, starting off a bit younger and even just training with like older guys, heavier guys, a lot more experience. It really ingrained that toughness and that sort of, you got to rise above that adversity sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. How did you take the first loss?
It was tough, you know, like sort of, you know, especially as a kid, you know, and like, especially like, you know, with UFC these days and boxing, it's like, oh, you know, to have that 0 gone next to your name, especially early on in your career, it's sort of like, oh, it's the end of the world. But in Muay Thai especially, you know, a lot of the times you're getting the best guys fighting the best guys, especially at that higher level. Yeah. So you got to take those losses. You know, in Thailand, you'll see the best fighters in the world, and in Thailand, you know, having, you know, 50 plus losses, because these guys are having like 400 fights plus on their record. So eventually you got to lose, you know. So, you know, at the end of the day, you know, no one wants to lose. It always sucks. But, you know, when you want to be fighting those best guys, if you're avoiding the best guys and only taking easy fights, then you're not going to improve. You're not going to develop, which is at the end of the day, that's what you want to do.
You learn from your losses, right? And there would have been so many things you take away from that, character-wise and
100%,
and skill-wise.
100%, yeah.
So looking at your 40 fights now, is there one where, when did you actually turn pro? How many fights in?
Yeah, so I turned pro, I think it was my 12th fight. I just turned 18, so like I think it's Australia-wide now. You need to be 18 to turn pro.
Okay.
I might be wrong, but at the time, you needed to be 18, or it might have been Melbourne. So I had my first pro fight in Melbourne, and I think the rules at the time was you had to be 18. So it was literally like a week after I turned 18. So
Amazing feeling.
yeah, it was different, but sort of the same. Obviously, you didn't have headgear on, no elbow pads or anything like that, so all the gear came off. But yeah, I remember my first pro fight. I actually stepped up. So I usually fight at 76 kilos.
Yeah.
I ended up taking a fight at 84. Like, this dude was, just a giant. Like, had so much height on me. I think I weighed in at like 82 and a half.
Yeah.
This guy was cutting weight down to 84. So
he's probably come in a couple of kilos heavier than 84.
I've no doubt he would have been 90 plus kilos, easily 90 plus kilos on the night. So this guy was a big guy. The fight went alright. Like, he was just scoring and sort of just keeping me at the end of his jab and end of his kick. So he wasn't really doing too much damage, but he was just racking up the points. It was just so hard for me to get in just because of the height difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember like busting his leg up pretty badly, and at the end of the fight, he could barely stay up on his legs. So it was five by a 2-minute round fight. We were hoping to get 3-minute rounds, so I've no doubt if it went an extra even minute, I would have stopped him with leg kicks. But it's all good. And yeah, looking back at first fight, going down to Melbourne, seeing all that and being a part of that was
massive.
It was really cool. But yeah, again, winning's cool. Like, you always want to win, but at the same time, if you take a loss, there's still plenty of positives you can get out of it, and still heaps you can grow. And yeah, it's all about those experiences at the end of the day.
I was watching this morning. If anyone follows me on IG, I shared on my story your first fight in Rebellion.
On Rebellion, yeah.
And great fight.
Yeah.
Awesome fight.
Yeah, it was cool, man. Like, we've been trying to, because Rebellion, if anyone doesn't know, Rebellion's probably the biggest and the best Muay Thai show in the country by far.
Yeah.
And they're even recognised around the world as a top level promotion. So yeah, Sai, the promoter, he's been trying to get me on for a few years now. Just with a few timing, a couple of times I've been matched when he's asked to get me on, and a couple fights have sort of fallen through. So it's just never worked out timing wise. And I remember, I just fought in April of 2018. Pulled up pretty good, not too bad. Got straight back into training. It was about 3 weeks out from his show, and I got a message from my trainer saying, "So I want you to fight in Rebellion in 3 weeks." And that's sort of, it's not too late minute, but usually you'll get a bit more notice for a fight. But I was like, straight away said yes. We've been waiting for this opportunity for so long. And it was actually funny. The guy ended up fighting. I got tagged in a big knockout video that he's one of his knockouts that went viral.
I kept hearing the commentators say the dude had serious knockout power.
Yeah. So this guy has had, he's had about 30 fights with I think he had 21 wins with 20 KOs.
Yes.
So big knockout puncher. And it was funny because I got tagged by a mate on Facebook with a big elbow knockout of his that went viral.
Yeah.
And I was commented on it saying, that was crazy. And a few days later, we matched the fight. Yeah. So it was just crazy how that worked.
And funnily enough, you finishing with an elbow in
your so just the way that all played out was pretty crazy in itself. But just going into that fight, the sort of the story was, when's Luca going to knock David out and all of this. And so to go in there, first fight on Rebellion after all these years trying to get on, and to put Luca away the way I did, him being the knockout artist, was it was crazy. So
tell me, amongst your fights, is there a fight that stands out to you, not just for a win or for that sort of thing, but the opportunity it was where you competed?
Yeah. I would say probably that Luca fight, but definitely one that sort of sticks out was the second fight on Rebellion against a Thai called Compact Lake Fairtex, which Fairtex, a lot of people are probably familiar with Fairtex. They're a massive brand, Muay Thai brand. They have a massive gym in Thailand, produced a lot of champions over the years. So Compact Lake is a former Raja Stadium champion, which is like the pinnacle of titles you can win in Thailand.
Is that in Bangkok?
That's in Bangkok, yeah. So he's, former Raja champion, former WBC world champion, 150 plus fights. So like this guy was a legit Thai. So to get the opportunity to fight him on Rebellion in my home country was pretty crazy.
That's amazing, yeah.
So and just to be in there with someone of that experience and that caliber was a massive opportunity, and I'm really very grateful to the guys down at Rebellion and Desire for giving me that opportunity. That fight I didn't win, I lost on close points, but just to be in there with someone of that caliber,
Definitely.
like that's you don't get any higher than that. So
Definitely.
Was really grateful for that opportunity and just learning so much as well, moving around with someone like that. That's definitely one that sticks out to me as well.
Have you spent much time over there in Thailand?
In Thailand, yeah. So I first went to Thailand November of 2014, just for a couple of weeks, just to introduce me to it and all of that, and loved it. Just loved it. So I've been going back. Usually get back for a few weeks to a month every year around the end of the year. Just with work and that, it's pretty hard to get out there. But the last couple of years I've went out for a month stint, and then I've just gotten back from a 3-month stint in January. So
nice.
Yeah,
How was the experience this time around?
Yeah, the extra bit of time was awesome. You can sort of settle in a bit more, because when you go for like a week or 2 weeks, it's sort of like you rock up, the Thais will kill you for a week, then you fight, then like the trip's over. So to have that 3 months, settle in, get used to the training, and then enjoy the training a bit more as well, was really cool. And then obviously, you're there for a lot longer, so you get more fight opportunities and just embrace the culture a bit more as well.
Definitely.
That was the 3 months was really good. I'm happy I took that time to go out there.
How much different is it training there to here?
Oh, massive. Like I say to a lot of people, like I think Thailand's like the be all end all of getting good training. Like you can get good training in Australia, but the difference is in Thailand, there's no distractions. You can just focus on Muay Thai 100%. You don't have to worry about work or family commitments or any of those sort of responsibilities.
It's a simpler life, isn't it?
Yeah,
because they live and breathe it.
Yeah, it's like you stay at the gym. You got a room like in the gym, so you just sleep at the gym, wake up, train twice a day, eat, sleep, and that's your life. You don't have to worry about anything else. So just to have that 100% commitment on your training, you just level up so quick. Like I say, like a week in Thailand, like a month or 2 months anywhere else, just because the amount of training you're doing, and you don't have to worry about anything else.
Just pure volume, isn't it?
It's just moving around with like high level guys, not just the Thais, but just like high level guys from all around the world as well. So you're around that 24/7, you got to level up, So,
100% you do.
So if you want to, that's the best way to do it as well, I think, because over in Australia you can get good training here, like I said, but in Thailand it's just 100% Muay Thai. So
whereabouts do you train in Thailand? Is it consistent that you're going back to the same gym? Or?
I travelled the first year. I travelled a little bit around, but I just kept going back to the same place called Kiap Tip, which is a gym just outside of Bangkok. So they're more like an old school sort of gym. They're not like nothing flash or crazy new equipment or anything like that. But just gotten on with all the Thais there, all the trainers. The training's always been good. Always had good opportunities, and just all the Thais. It's a real family orientated gym. You're looked after really well. They treat the foreigners the same as the Thais. Like you'll hear sometimes you'll go to a gym and there's sort of a split between the Thais and the foreigners. So to just to be treated and to get that same respect as the Thais, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, 100%. And you feel a part of their culture for the time.
Yeah. Like every time I go there, like the Thais go out of their way to welcome you and really try to make you feel a part of the family, really. So
definitely,
to be in a foreign country and to get that, it's awesome. Yeah.
Talk to me about, obviously Muay Thai. We look at these days today, massive UFC card on.
Yep.
And I've spoken to a few boys in the Muay Thai space about this. That promotion has gone crazy, as has most of the MMA promotions now.
Yeah.
There's obviously not a lot of money in Muay Thai at the moment. How hard is it juggling professionally fighting as well as working?
Yeah, it is. It's hard. Like I said before, like Muay Thai is still growing. Like it's not a massive, it doesn't have a lot of media spotlight or sponsors and stuff like coverage and stuff like that. So we're still growing. It is getting better. Now with one championship sort of really blowing up over the last 2 years, I would say it's gotten a lot bigger. So there's starting to be a little bit of a pathway for us to sort of, get more exposure. They're starting to really push it online now, and social media's gotten a lot bigger these days as well. It's gotten a bit better, but I think it's on its way. Like it's definitely still growing, but the last couple of years I've seen a bit of a rise in attention for the Muay Thai guys. So hopefully with one, it can keep pushing and
definitely
keep getting us some more opportunities to get out there. I know I've heard talks of them trying to break into the American market to try and compete with the UFC. So hopefully when that happens, it can just bring more eyes to the sport. And,
definitely.
Even come to a show in Australia, because one's got heaps of top level guys signed at the moment from Australia, so they could easily do a show down here.
That'd be awesome.
But yeah, like it's funny, like you'll see, like, because one, I don't know if a lot of people are familiar with one, but they have MMA, kickboxing and Muay Thai fights all on the same card. And you'll be watching it, and like a lot of the times the Muay Thai fights is just like banger of fights, and it's like absolute wars. So for me as a Muay Thai guy, or even like any other person that's just watching the card, say if they're watching an MMA fight and they're sort of waiting, and this Muay Thai fight comes on and it's like banger of a fight, and they're like, oh, like look, what's this here? It gets so it's good to have all these different disciplines on the same card, because it brings all these audiences to the one show, and everyone sort of wins, I guess. It sort of brings more exposure to all of them.
I'm a massive Joe Rogan fan. I love his podcast as well. Hopefully one day Joe's fucking sitting on the show too.
That'd be crazy, yeah.
But I watch his, and he speaks about it a lot. The popularity of the UFC is insane. However, you sit in a pub, and I'm going to go sit in a pub today and watch the Adesanya Romero fight and catch a couple of fights. And the minute it goes to the ground, the whole pub goes, stand up.
Oh, man.
Throw some punches, kick. What are you going to the ground for?
Oh, man.
Yet there's no support from the same people for your Muay Thai organisations, even kickboxing organisations. Yeah. And I've heard Joe have a lot of guests on the channel like yourself who compete strictly in that pure form. It's hard to get your head around.
Oh, 100%, man. And for me, it's like so frustrating. Like I'll get out to the pub every now and again to watch if there's a big UFC fight on. Like I'm not the massive UFC fan, but if there's a big fight like Adesanya, I'm a fan of his, so I might go and watch his. And then, like as you said, the minute it goes to the ground, people are booing. They're not as interested in it. And as a Muay Thai, I'm just like, why aren't you watching Muay Thai? Like these guys are just standing toe to toe, throwing down and like giving it everything. I'm just like they just don't get that exposure, and that's all it is. There's just not enough exposure for it. The UFC's done well. Like even like 10 or so years ago, UFC was nowhere near where it is now.
No,
but they've had that backing and had a lot of money thrown at it, I suppose.
Yeah.
So they've built up over the years, and they are where they are now. So hopefully Muay Thai with one as well can sort of get there one day eventually. And fingers crossed it does. But as a Muay Thai guy, and I see that, it's very frustrating, because I'm just like, I know how good Muay Thai fights are, and then when you go and watch a UFC fight, and sort of like the stand up's not as good, and then when it goes to the ground, people are booing and carrying on and not liking it. It's sort of frustrating for me, because it's like there's Muay Thai fights over here, and they're just giving it everything. So.
See, I appreciate the ground game too, but I'm more of a stand-up guy.
For sure, yeah.
In terms of enjoying watching it. And as you said, UFC's put a lot of money into their promotion. But if you look at their history, the fight that blew them up as an organisation was Forrest Griffin, Stephan Bonnar.
I've heard that, yeah.
And that fight was pure stand-up brawl.
Yeah.
Because
that's what
I'm scratching my head trying to figure it out.
More. Yeah.
So I think hopefully, like you said, I think the exposure of social media these days will definitely help. I know I see a lot of gyms in Thailand getting on the front foot with actually promoting these training camps through YouTube.
Oh, it's the way now with social media,
100%, and it's the only way to grow the sport.
Yeah, for sure.
Just more exposure, more eyes, and
because like I get the question a lot. Oh, you ever think about going to MMA? Well, it's like for me, like. I love stand-up and I love Muay Thai. When I look at the ground game, it doesn't really do nothing. I don't, I've got no interest in it, to be honest. Where I see a Muay Thai fight, my heart starts racing. I'm just so passionate about like Muay Thai and just seeing two guys just throwing down. Whereas like I see, like, don't get me wrong, I respect the ground game, I respect jiu-jitsu and all of that, and I can understand it. And if that's what people are doing, it's like, I support that and all that. But it just, for me personally, it just doesn't do nothing for me. So to try and push myself to like learn the ground game just to get to UFC because of the money. Like, obviously everyone wants to make money and all of that, but if you're not passionate about it, you're not going to get up in the morning. You're not going to,
That's
what I mean?
the thing.
So yeah,
we spoke about this before we got on the mic.
Yeah,
if you're really enjoying something that makes you happy, it makes it easy.
Oh, 100%.
The training's always going to be hard, but if the discipline's easy, that makes the difference.
Yeah, all of a sudden, you're finding that extra bit of energy. You want to get to training. You're racing to get to training instead of it's a chore, and then it starts breaking you down, like mentally as well. It'll start breaking you. So you just got to love what you're doing and be happy with what you're doing. At the end of the day, I think so. Obviously, we all want to make money, and I want to be a part of Muay Thai getting bigger and helping Muay Thai get big. So fingers crossed we can get there one
day. Man.
Yeah.
And guys, just before we go on with the show, a quick word, and a first time for us, a quick word from our first sponsors. We're going to crack on with the episode in 30 seconds time, but we want to thank our sponsors, Aboveline Security Solutions. Aboveline was actually started here in my hometown of Wollongong. The owner and director, Anthony, not only a great human, but a very good businessman. They provide services in crowd control, static guards, function security, and corporate security, all with a quality guarantee. So every guard at Aboveline, it was all about being created to rival the competitors and beat them in their trade. The guards are actually monitored through a security KPI report to guarantee that the staff are trained and skilled in the areas that your business actually needs, and to ensure they're at the top of their game all the time. You can actually go and head to abovelinsecuritysolutions.com to find out a little bit more. But back to the show now. Man, tell me, I love a good story.
Yeah.
And the idea of this podcast and why it was created, I think stories and conversations are powerful.
Yeah.
It can change your life for the better. I think with any athlete, there's got to be a moment in your career where you face a little bit of adversity and you go, maybe I should stop.
Yeah.
Do I keep going? Has there ever been a moment for you amongst those 40 fights where
definitely,
you had to make a decision?
Yeah, for sure. Because it's a roller coaster, you're going to have those ups and those downs, you're going to take losses and wins. So it's definitely up and down, So I probably had that, you're always going to have those off days as well where you're feeling a bit tired or your body's sore, especially in this sport, there's always some little niggle. So you always have those little sort of doubts, thoughts running through your head. Oh, is this worth it? Or why am I doing this? But you sort of, like for me, I always come back to, I want to chase that feeling of that, getting my hand raised and all that sort of thing. And obviously I still have a lot of goals I still want to achieve in this sport. But I probably seriously hit a point last year, coming off a couple big losses, and as well two fights that a lot of people backed me to win as well. Sort of underperformed, sort of went in there with sort of the wrong mindset and just not fighting to the best of my ability. And to be honest, I sort of really didn't want to be there. The year prior I had a massive year, a lot of fights back to back, and I guess I was feeling a little bit burnt out to a degree.
Yeah.
And towards the back end of 2018, I was sort of thinking about having a bit of a break just to sort of freshen up and recharge. And then I got offered these two big fights, and I was like, me being me, it's hard to say no. I said, yeah, all right, we'll do it. You can't say no to a big opportunity. So sort of just getting ready for those fights, sort of having those sort of thoughts in my head, and don't get me wrong, I still wanted to be there. I still trained hard, and I was definitely ready for the fights. But sort of just to have those thoughts in my head, I would say, looking back now, definitely affected me, and then definitely coming off the back of that second loss, I just remember being in the ring, because I got stopped in the fourth round as well. I just remember, waiting for the referee and judges to announce the official decision. I just said to my trainer, I need a break, Just
Yeah.
straight out. I was like, I'm tired. Just tired.
Any aspect of life, I think, whether it's work, training, competing, you need that
Yeah.
moment to walk away and recharge your
Yeah.
head and feel fresh
Yeah,
again.
just to recharge and freshen out, because like especially probably the last 2 years, it's just been non-stop, man. Like I've had a lot of like big fights and just like back to back as well. Like I'll sort of fight and sort of have like not even a week off and I'm straight back into training, you know, getting ready for the next one. So it's just been continuous back to back. There hasn't been really a moment where I can sort of catch my breath and recharge and just do other things as well, which like I do love Muay Thai and like I do love doing it as much as I can, but I just sort of got to a point where it was like it just got too much.
Yeah.
And then it started breaking me down mentally as well, and then again, like we were saying, with work on top of that, you know, working 5 days a week all day, and then racing to the gym, trying to put 100% energy into my training as well, knowing I have these big fights coming up. It just, everything all together, it just got to a point where I was like, all right, I need to take a bit of a step back, sort of just get that fire back a little bit and just recharge and reassess and just have fun with life again, instead of just like making it a chore to get to training just because I've got a fight coming up. Yeah. So,
do you take time off work heading into that week of the fight?
I usually take fight week off.
Yeah.
So fight week off, obviously you want to rest up a bit for the fight, the weight cut that last bit of weight, and then just not have that distraction, those thoughts of your head, so you can sort of be a bit more clear-minded, go into the fight, really focus in on what you're going to be doing the weekend coming up.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, you're right.
Talk to me about the weight cut. Is that hard for you?
Like I've done it that many times now. My body's used to it. I know what I need to do. My body knows what it sort of takes to get to that point. I like to start off probably about 6 weeks. So usually you'll get like at least a 6+ weeks notice that you have a fight coming up. So I usually like to start like 6 weeks out. Good diet, you know, plenty of water, all that sort of stuff, all that basic stuff, you know. So I'm stripping weight pretty early, getting that body fat down, that body weight down pretty early. And then usually by fight week, you know, I'll have a few kilos to go sort of thing. And then comes in, you know, carb depletion, sodium, water loading. So that sort of helps me out on fight week. And then that last day or so, sort of, you know, a bit of sweatsuit running, a little bit of sauna, a little bit of hot bath, nothing too crazy. But I like to be pretty close. By those couple of days out, I like to be sort of a couple kilos out sort of thing.
What do you walk around at most of the time?
I walk around 80, depends what time of year, obviously after Christmas, you get to be a little bit heavier. But I like to walk around 84-ish, 85-ish. So
it's not a crazy
It's not like MMA type crazy, you know.
But it's still...
It's a decent amount of weight, but for this stage of my career now, you know, I've done it that many times, man. My body knows what it takes. And as a fighter, you got to know where to draw that line as well. Yeah. Like everyone's different. So, you know, I've been doing it for that many years now. I know what my body can take and where I'm feeling good at. But for me as well, like, you know, I could fight heavier. And I have fought a bit at 79 the last couple of years, but just running into like these guys at 79 that are a lot bigger, cutting weight from like 90 plus kilo. I know for a fact if you guys walk around like 90 plus kilos, that fight at 79. So it's like, for me, I'd rather be that bit more stricter those weeks leading up with my diet, have that bit more of a sacrifice for your diet and that sort of thing, and come in at 76, a bit more equal size and not fighting these giants, you know.
How do you feel coming off the back of a weight cut into fight day? Do you feel personally that you're missing a bit of that 100% that you would have been feeling coming into actually the last week of training?
It depends how you prep your body. So for me, I'm a big one of making sure my body's prepped in those weeks leading up, so you're doing the right thing with your diet. If you leave all the weight to the last minute, then you got to be doing, you know, more sweatsuit running, more sauna, more hot baths, and then you'll notice it a lot more come fight day. Yeah. But if you've prepped your body right, if you've done all the right things, you have a couple of kilos to lose that last couple of days, then, you know, you're feeling pretty good. And then the rehydration's a big one as well. You know, if you're jumping off the scale and, you know, running off the Maccas or something like that, you got to be putting the right stuff back in your body as well. So again, like I've done it that many times. I know what my body needs. I know what foods are going to be best for my recovery leading into fight day. And you got 24 hours as well. For most shows, you weigh in the night before. So you have a good 24 hours. And now usually I'm fighting main event or towards the end of the card. So I'm not fighting until about like 12 o'clock most times. So I'm getting 24 to 30 hours from weigh-in until I'm actually fighting.
Okay,
so
cool.
there's plenty of time to, refuel the body and rehydrate, but you got to be doing it right at the same time as well. Yeah.
Is there for you, are you a routine guy?
Definitely, yeah.
So what does a week of training look like, without giving away too much, of course?
Yeah.
Elements of Muay Thai, strength conditioning, cardio.
Yeah. So for me, like with work, I work as a chippy, as a carpenter. So I'm up.
So it's bloody.
It's hard,
work,
it's hard. So I'm like working all day and then racing gym straight from work. So I warming up, like skipping for like 15 minutes. You'll do your bag work, pads, sparring, clinching. You'll sort of, you won't be sparring every day. It'll sort of be every other day, and do a bit of boxing sparring as well. So it's sort of good mixing it up with some high level boxers. I do a lot of sparring down at Forte Boxing Academy in Albion Park with the boys down there.
Nudge.
With Nudge, those guys
Lovely
are legends.
bloke,
Mark, Too Sharp Lucas.
I watched Mark fight on the main card down here in Wollongong last year.
So like he's a high level boxer in Australia at the moment. So to move around with those guys, and it is so different as well. Again, boxing to Muay Thai, but they've helped me sharpen my hands up a lot over the last couple of years. So shout out to those guys. They've really appreciate the help there. Sparring, bit of strength and conditioning work throughout the week as well. Lots of running. Like I'm a big runner, especially with like the weight cut again. There's a lot of different opinions on long running in Muay Thai. The Thais do it a lot. Lots of long running.
I've asked this question. I train with Mitch and Brian. I've asked them about the theory behind that, because you see a lot of top level athletes in many sports now trying to disregard that distance, especially high impact running, to preserve the body. But it's obviously a tradition in even boxing as well as Muay Thai.
In Thailand,
the Thais seem to do it.
In Thailand it's huge. Like the Thais sort of say, if you don't run, you don't fight. They're massive on it. So like a lot of the old school gyms will run up to 13 k's in the morning, and then some gyms will run 10 k's at night, whereas some will do 5k at night, or some will just skip in the afternoon. A lot of these days now, the gym I'm training at will do 13 in the morning and then skip for half an hour.
I don't think I've ever run 13 k's.
So it is a lot, but like back home I'm probably running I'll sort of alternate days between like 12 k's and 8 k's. So like I'm a big one on running. I think like for me it's good to get that weight down, that base fitness, and to build those legs. So I'm still a firm believer in long running, but then obviously you got to add in your sprint work as well. But for me as a guy, it's good. It's good for me to get that weight down. That's a big one for me. The long running. So long running, sparring.
The strength and conditioning, how important is that for you?
It's something I used to do a lot of a few years ago. Sort of dropped back off it, maybe the last year or so. But it's something I'm looking at getting back into again, for sure.
Nice.
Especially now fighting those high level guys. It comes down to all those 1%ers. If you're doing a few 1%ers here and there, all of a sudden you got an extra 5%, and that can be the difference between winning and losing.
And as a fighter, you're still so young. So you don't even have that developed strength that a lot of guys at closer to 30 years of age have, just with natural progression of the body. So I think it's probably an important part of being able to compete with those stronger dudes.
For sure.
You'd obviously notice it a lot in the clinch as well.
Like the clinch is like it is very technical, but if you got to be a stronger guy and have that technique on top, then that's what I mean. So if you both guys are technical, but you have one guy who's a lot stronger, then all of a sudden the strength does play a part. It's like I say, guys, if you have two guys who know what they're doing, if one's a bit bigger, that's when the weight cut comes into play. That's why guys are cutting weight, to get that little bit of an edge, So there's all those little 1%ers, man, especially in fight sports. It does add up. Man,
I remember probably 3 months ago at training, one of the boys, there was an odd number to clinch. And I was like, I'll give it a crack. I'd never done it before. Fuck, I was tired, man.
Oh, man, yeah.
It's just a different... You don't expect it because you're not moving as much.
Yeah.
But even like all around my shoulders, my neck, my chest was just exhausted.
Yeah. Well, it's like we were talking about before with the MMA, when the guys go to the ground, the crowd will boo. It's sort of like that in Muay Thai when they go into the clinch, people, they don't find it as exciting because they just don't know how hard it actually is and how technical it is.
Yeah.
And you can do a lot of damage in the clinch as well.
It's actually quite a lot of fun.
So, like for me, like it was even the same as me. When I first started, I wasn't too big in the clinch, but now, like, I love it.
Yeah.
You can do a lot of damage inside the clinch, and it's just it's a completely another game. There's so much to it, There's so much to learn in the clinch. So,
as a fighter, obviously everyone's got their strengths. Is there a real weapon for you that you come back to in those tougher fights that...
Yeah, like I think it's no secret. Like I'm a big low kicker. Like,
I noticed that
if
in
you watch
what
a lot
I
of my
watched.
fights, I'm a big low kicker. Elbows have sort of become a big one the last couple of years. I've been telling a lot of guys lately as well. I'm helping out a lot of guys at the gym lately, and I didn't start cutting guys until maybe my 25th fight. So, and that just comes with experience as well. Because elbows are like a real close range sort of thing. So the timing and the distance is really important when it comes to elbows. And that's something you develop over time as well. So sort of maybe the last 1.5 to 2 years have really started to get those elbows on
nice.
point. And
they're just, it's like weapons.
They just, out of Muay Thai, the elbows are probably the weapon that does the most damage, you know. So they're game changers,
And because they're so sharp at that point,
you can cut people. I've seen fights where a guy has, just completely schooled the guy the whole 5 rounds, and then the other guy's come back, landed an elbow, cut him the last 30 seconds of the fight. The doctor's called it off. Yeah. So it's like, that's what I mean. The elbows are just such game changers, and they're not hard to land when you sort of get that timing, that distance, which does come with experience. It doesn't take much. You can land an elbow, cut a guy, and it can change. It can change the fight. Flip it on its head. So elbows are a game changer. Yeah.
Unreal. Is there anything for you, like looking back on those fights, any major injuries, any major like injuries mid-fight that you've had to fight through? I've
been pretty lucky when it comes to injuries. Probably like the worst one was that arm break, but that was before I even had my first fight. Besides that, I've had a stress fracture in my ankle just from overuse, sort of.
You're on your toes a lot, skipping a lot.
Yeah, running, skipping, knees, all that sort of stuff, and that was probably my other major injury. I've had a couple sort of minor calf tear, and nothing too crazy.
Nothing to put you out for long.
Yeah, obviously, like fighting Muay Thai, you cut a bunch of times, and you'll get the black eyes and banged up shins and banged up all that sort of stuff, but. All that sort of stuff heals within the week. So I've been pretty lucky throughout my career, and I look after my body pretty well, I think too. So when it comes to injuries, I've been pretty. I've had a pretty good run.
Touch wood, man. That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
So tell me, obviously, we've said it a number of times now. You're so young, 23, same age as me. I feel like I've not fucking done much listening to you, but it's awesome to see because you've got obviously so much time up your sleeve. What are your goals inside the sport and outside of the sport? Yeah. Looking forward at the next 10 years of your life?
Yeah, so obviously the big one is to win that WBC world title. That's sort of like WBC the last couple of years has really sort of, taken the lead of the prestige. Like there's a bunch of titles and belts you can win in Muay Thai. WMC is a big one. But sort of the last couple of years, WBC has sort of taken over. There's a lot more promotions under WBC. They've got legit world ranking at the moment, WBC. So there's just a lot of opportunity in there, and everyone's just sort of after that big green belt.
Who holds it at the moment?
It's a French fighter called Hamza Nagado. He's a big, tall, lanky, long guy. He just defended it this past February against a Russian in Phuket, actually. So, that's the one sort of I'm after, and that's a big goal of mine to get.
Is there a time frame that you'd like to have that within?
There's, without giving too much away, there's a few steps. sort of in place for me to make a run at that soonish within the next year or so.
And there's going to be, for anyone that's listening, there's going to be some big announcements from David in the coming weeks.
Definitely. So there's a lot of sort of things at play at the moment, and a few changes and things coming my way. So looking forward to it. I've got a big fight locked in May that everyone knows about. I'm fighting for the WBC national title against Stefan Lottering on Muay Thai Grand Prix over in Perth, which is a massive show, semi-main event to Liam Harrison and Roy Wills, who are fighting for a WBC Diamond title. So
Liam Harrison, I've watched that guy's a mental case.
He's probably one of my favourite foreign fighters going around at the moment. So
the UK?
Yeah, from the UK. So to fight under him will be awesome, and just there'll be a lot of eyes on that card as well, just for Liam. So to be a part of that, it's going to be really cool. So that's a big fight I've got coming up at the moment. A few other things sort of in play that I can't really talk about. But back end of the year is looking really big with a few things sort of in the works. And
so Hamza, if you're listening, watch out, brother.
He's on his way. That's the plan. Hopefully we can get there. Within the next year or so, that'll be
awesome.
That'll be crazy. Yeah.
Talk to me about the belts that we've got sitting on the table here. Obviously, you just said WBC. We've got 2 of them. What do those titles mean to you? What do you feel like having your hand raised and that belt wrapped around you in those moments?
Yeah, so we got the WMC, which are the green and gold belts, and we got the WBC, which are the big green belts. I'll talk about the WMC ones first. So at the time when I won them, which was about 4 years ago, the WMC were like the belts to win. You know, they were like the most prestigious and legit belts you can win. So to win that WMC Australian title over in Perth against a top level guy at the time, that was crazy. I actually stopped him in the first round with leg kicks.
Awesome.
So to go over there and to fight for the WMC Australian title, which is in it just a fight for that belt, was massive. But to go over there and to stop him in the first round with leg kicks was. Yeah, looking back, was probably up there top 3 moments of my career still. It's something I'm very proud of.
How old at that stage were you?
I might have been 19, 20. Yeah, I would have been about 19, I think. Yeah.
That's awesome, hey?
Yeah, so still young. But yeah, just to win that belt at the time as well, when WMC was sort of at its height, it was a massive achievement for me. So something I'm very proud of to get at that time.
You should be, man.
Yeah. So and then we have the WBC has taken over the past couple of years now. There's a lot of promoters going to WBC. You know, they've got a proper ranking world system now, which is updated. I think it's like once a month. So there's a lot of growth and building with the WBC at the moment. And I've gone on to win a couple of them belts. I've won the WBC national title and the WBC Oceana title. They're two legit belts as well, and it's sort of gotten me to where I am.
That must be a feeling, right? That just motivates you so much.
Oh man,
how hard is it to win one of those and not go back to the gym the next day, motivated as fuck for the next thing?
It's to get that belt wrapped around your waist, man. After they'll both fight like point decisions, those 2 WBC belts. So to hear that MC announce you as the winner and to have that belt wrapped around your waist is. Yeah, something that feeling you'll never forget, and it's why I keep coming back.
Definitely.
I just forever chasing that feeling, man. And the day I get sick of it, that feeling, I'll stop. But for me right now, I'm hungry for that feeling.
That's awesome.
I want to get back in there. I want to get that feeling again. So that's what obviously I want to be a world champion, what goals, but I love that feeling of getting my hand raised and having all that hard work and grinding paying off. So.
When you're in those fights and you're winning by a point decision, you're standing there and obviously you've heard what your coaches had to say each round. How much of you knows that you're going to have your hand raised?
Yeah.
And how much is almost too in the moment of just protecting yourself and scoring those points to realise whether you're in front or not?
Yeah. For now I've had 40 fights, so when that end of the bell of the 5th round rings, you sort of know if you've won or lost. obviously if it's a lot closer fight, you're sort of not too sure, and it is hard when you're in there as well. Obviously it's a different view looking into the fight as opposed to being in there. So sometimes if it's a bit closer, you're not too sure, but for the most part, if you've done enough to win or to lose. But still, until that announcer announces the winner, it's sort of like, oh, what if? Especially these days, I'm fighting interstate a lot, so it's like, you'll get some shows that will sort of favour the hometown boy.
Yeah, of
so
course.
You do see that a fair bit. So there's always that in the back of your head as well.
Yeah.
And then if it is a bit of a closer fight, well, sometimes they do tend to favour the hometown boys. So there is that.
Definitely.
So that's always in the back of your head when you're fighting away from home. But yeah, for the most part, you know deep down, like if you've been around for the sport for long enough, if you've done enough to win or lose. But yeah, until that announcer sort of, makes the call and you get that hand raised, it's sort of, you're sort of like, waiting. Yeah, it's sort of nerve wracking. Yeah,
I can imagine.
Yeah,
it's awesome to hear, man. I think it's so hard to imagine not being inside there or not. I was even on Friday night, I was up at the state, to watch the state title. And I went backstage and watched some warm-ups, watched some of the prep.
Oh, it's crazy, yeah.
Filmed a bit of stuff. That'll be shown on the YouTube channel soon. Fuck, man. I was nervous.
Oh, it's intense, man. Like, I was at a show the other week as well, and, like, it's like, people ask me, oh, do you get nervous? Or, like, even, like, man, I get nervous. Yeah, right.
Keep chatting.
Yeah. It's like, I get nervous watching my good mates fight, because it's like, it's sort of out of your control, and there's not much you can sort of do. Whereas for me, when I'm fighting, obviously the nerves and that is still there, but it's like, it's up to you. You sort of, it's in your hands and you got more control. Whereas when it's your mates, it's sort of like, there's nothing you can do.
100%.
Yeah. But man, the vibe at the back of a fight show, it's crazy. It's like, you got so much emotions running through, and I've said this to a lot of people, like, before the fight, it's a crazy time, you're nervous,
Man, I was nervous.
Oh, it's intense, man. Like, I was at a show the other week as well, and like, it's like, people ask me, oh, do you get nervous? Or like, even, like, man, I get nervous. Yeah, right.
Keep chatting.
Yeah. It's like, I get nervous watching my good mates fight, because it's like, it's sort of out of your control, and there's not much you can sort of do. Whereas for me, when I'm fighting, obviously the nerves and that is still there, but it's like, it's up to you. You sort of, it's in your hands and you got more control. Whereas when it's your mates, it's sort of like, there's nothing you can do.
100%.
Yeah. But man, the vibe at the back of a fight show, it's crazy. It's like, you got so much emotions running through, and I've said this to a lot of people, like, before the fight, it's a crazy time. You're nervous. There's a lot of things running through your head. Have I done enough in training? Is this going to be the night I get knocked out? All these things are running through your head. You're nervous. You're excited. So it's crazy times at the back, man. Yeah, before a fight.
Oh, I can imagine. Is there a certain point where you're warming up where it kicks in, or are you sort of like that most of the night?
It's sort of like, I like to be pretty chilled, because you don't want to be fired up like the whole day, leading into the fight. So I like to be pretty relaxed the whole day. Even like now, because I'm on pretty late, fighting main event, fighting semi-main event, I'm on like pretty late at night. So even when I get to the venue, I'm still like to be pretty relaxed, and then I'll get my hand wrapped, probably like an hour or so before the fight, and then I start, all right, it's time to start switching on. That's sort of like that moment where it's like, all right, this is happening. When that tape goes on your hands, it's like, all right, it's time to switch on, it's time to go to work.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So do you have any goals, like for you, do you feel there's business opportunities with this in Muay Thai for you to use the platform you have as a fighter to grow within the sport, not just as a competitor, but as a name?
Yeah. Eventually I would love to, have my own gym, have my own fighters, my own team underneath me. And that's sort of another driving factor for me as a fighter now, to, take those hard fights, to win as many belts as I can, just to create that legacy, create that name for myself now as a fighter. And then, when I'm done, have all those fights behind me. I've had all those memories, all those belts, all those trophies on the wall.
Yeah.
And I have that name behind me. So
Definitely.
when people come to my gym, hopefully one day they know this is going to be a good place to train. So that's a big goal. One day, that's sort of right down the track. Right now I'm definitely 100% focused on my career and still building that name. But yeah, that's awesome, a dream. Like hopefully one day I can sort of look at doing. Yeah,
that's awesome. Now you've obviously got a bit of traditional Thai ink as well.
Yeah.
How does that feel, man?
Oh, it's different. Yeah. It tickles.
You got normal stuff too. Like
I've only have the one with the gun. All my rest is traditional sak yan. So sak meaning tap, and then yan meaning tattoo. So it's done with a long metal rod with a spike on the end of it, and they'll stab it into you over and over. So it's
that would take a while too.
It does, yeah. It takes a lot longer. Because I've asked people who've had a lot more of with a gun, and that have had some with sak yan. I always ask them because I do have one, but it was going back a while ago. I said, what's the difference? And like, sak yan hurts a lot more. Yeah. So because it does take a lot longer and it's a lot more slower because they're stabbing like this.
Because the gun doesn't really hurt, especially if you're not in a super sensitive area.
Yeah. Like for me, it's sak yan, even like around the outside of the forearm here, but inside of the elbow and like inner bicep. Yeah.
Fucking oath.
Fun times, yeah.
Yeah. How's the back? But you've had back done too.
Yeah, a fair bit on my back. The back wasn't too bad up near the top of the spine.
Yeah,
and
where it's a bit bony.
The shoulder blade, that was felt that a fair bit. But that's all a part of that experience as well, like getting through that pain and all a part of that traditional experience as well. Sort of got to earn it, I guess.
Are the Thais into that?
Yeah. The Thais are real spiritual and real superstitious. So like with sak yan, a lot of the yans, they help you with good luck and protection and strength and courage. So you'll see a lot of Muay Thai fighters with sak yan for that reason. So just sort of receive sak yan and just to push through that pain, and it's all part of that sort of experience. Yeah.
Is it common to get that outside of the sport, or is it more so competitive of the sport?
Yeah. Like you see. I remember years ago, Angelina Jolie got a sak yan. It's sort of got
Shout out to Angelina. She listens to the show. So.
Yeah. So she got one a few years back, and it sort of went a bit viral, I suppose, and it brought a lot more people more aware of sak yan as well. So you'll see people outside of the sport getting sak yan because it does have a lot of different effects and meanings, like good luck and can help you like with your life and all that sort of stuff. So
is there anyone doing it here in Australia?
I think there's a few Thais in Australia at the moment that are practicing sak yan. And I think they're students of the masters in Thailand.
Okay.
So it just depends what you if you want to get the proper experience.
Yeah.
Obviously you need to go to Thailand. It just depends what you're after. Yeah.
Would you ever look at living over there?
In Thailand?
Yeah.
Oh, a lot of people sort of ask me, you need to get over there for a few years and all that sort of stuff. It's like, for me being a bit heavier fighter, 76 kilos, the fights, like in Thailand, the main weights are like from 60 kilos, mid 50s to 60 kilos. So they're a lot lighter. You can get high. It's a lot more high level guys there. As you get a bit heavier, especially in Thailand, like the standard's still good, but there's just less opportunity. So like for me, I'm getting like in Australia, I'm getting big fights, decent money, good opportunity on big shows. And it's pushing me along that ladder in those WBC world rankings. So for me, it's sort of like I'm getting all these good opportunities here, good training. So it's like there's not really that need to go to Thailand full time. Like I still love going there and I still get a lot out of each time I go there. But to stay there for a long period of time, at this stage, I feel like it's not, I wouldn't say it's not needed, but I just feel like I'm getting good opportunities here. So it's sort of like, why?
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. Why do that?
That's awesome. Is there anyone for you that inspires you as a fighter?
Like I like to pull inspiration from everyone, even like the beginners. But I suppose a fighter from Australia, like obviously John Wayne Parr. he's done a lot for not just fighters in Australia, but for foreigners around the world in Muay Thai. He was, there was guys like, Ramon Deckers and Denny Buell, that foreigners that have gone and trained in Thailand, but, John Wayne Park for Australians, he was one of the first Australians that sort of, did the Thailand thing, that stayed there for a long period of time. I think he was there for about 4 years. So, he sort of paved the way for Aussies in Muay Thai going to Thailand, and, he's just such a lot for putting Australian Muay Thai on the map worldwide. So he's someone that, obviously a lot of guys in Australia look up to at the moment. So, yeah, he's definitely one.
That's
one
awesome,
of them,
man.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. It's obviously, for me, this is something I really enjoy
That's cool.
watching and listening and hearing about. And I think the response off Instagram when I put up that you were coming on, a lot of people obviously locally know you quite well for what you've been able to achieve, as well as in the sport. And I know a lot of people love combat sports. It's a serious interest, and I think a great hobby for a lot of people now, as well as a career for people like yourself. So it's awesome to have this chat and hopefully spread the message of that pure form of Muay Thai, which is an extremely exciting sport to watch, to obviously be involved in. And man, I hope we can continue to spread the message.
That's cool to hear. Like, you got that sort of reaction on Instagram, and that's all we want. We want to help get it out there more and help build the sport, which is what I'm passionate about too. I want to see Muay Thai get big, and I want us to get more opportunity and obviously more money for the fighters too. So I want to be a part of that. And again, I appreciate giving us the opportunity to come on and having a chat and giving us this platform. So man, it's been awesome. Where
can the listeners and onlookers find you?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram. You just type in my name, David Pennimpede, David _Crop Crewer, my gym name. So you can find us on there. I'm on Facebook. So jump on, give us a follow, and
Very nice.
see what we're up to.
And the Perth show, when's that again?
So that's on May 23rd. So big fight, WBC Australian titles. So
awesome.
For me, I'm number 4 ranked in the world. I'm fighting the number 3 guy ranked in the world. So
awesome matchup, man.
The winner of this fight's going to be sort of taking that next step towards that world title shot. So it's back end of the year's looking
good to hear, man.
Looking really good.
Good to hear, man. I'm proud to see someone from Wollongong doing so well.
Yeah, that's cool,
it's
man.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you on, brother.
I appreciate it, man. And
definitely. Everyone, please go check out David's Insta, follow him along on the journey. And if you're in Perth or you're heading that way mid-year, get over to the stadium and watch the WC.
Definitely.
Legend.
All right, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Awesome.